This week on Reproductive Rebel, we're diving into a topic almost no one is talking about: how allergies and immune reactions quietly affect your fertility. I am joined again by the incredible Hanna Kok of I Thrive for a deep exploration into why the body creates allergies, what those reactions are trying to communicate, and how chronic inflammation can disrupt your hormones and conception journey. Your body is not overreacting, it's signaling. And understanding those signals is the key to healing. If you are trying to conceive, feeling inflamed, or sense that something deeper is at play, this episode is going to bring much clarity. Listen to The Body's Red Flags, Understanding Allergies as Messages on the Path to Fertility, available now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Hi, I'm Adrienne Irizarry. I'm an East Asian medicine practitioner who is passionate about women's health and helping women to live their best lives. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your health, offering holistic solutions for a symptom-free life. Statements made in this program are for educational purposes only and not intended as a substitution for medical consultation or advice. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. This podcast is inclusive and welcomes all gender identities. The focus of the program is on biological function, and we will use the term women throughout, but it is referencing physiological and social challenges for biology, not identity. Come as you are. I am happy you're here and welcome all performances of identity. I hope you find something helpful in this show. Welcome back to another episode of the Reproductive Rebel podcast. I am once again joined by Hanna Kok. Welcome to the show, Hanna.
Well, thank you, Adrienne, for having me. It's wonderful being back.
So if you missed episode 9 of season 5, please go back and listen to that episode, because Hanna and I talk about how she got into the incredible work that she's doing, what her I Thrive program is all about, and how grudges can be a really big barrier to hormonal health and your overall body functioning. So make sure you go back and listen to that episode if you haven't listened to it already, or review it, because Hanna is a wealth of information. And one of the reasons I wanted to have Hanna back is she made a really interesting connection in our pre-recording call about fertility and allergies. And I was like, ooh, this is a good one. I think people need to hear this. So I'm going to have you just do a little brief introduction of yourself, Hanna, for anybody who is new to listening with this episode, of who you are and what you do, and we'll dive right in.
Hey, thank you. So my name is Hanna Kok. My surname means cook, just in case you're wondering or had a little sniggle when you heard my surname. So it means cook. So nothing exciting there. But the thing is, I'm from the Netherlands originally, and then I have been living in Southern Africa for over 14 years. So that's why my accent is quite a mixture of different things. And I am a trained biology and chemistry teacher, but I've been working with kinesiology I qualified in 94. So that is how many years? 31 years ago, somewhere there. And I also since then qualified as an allergy practitioner and a medical intuitive. And during my allergy training, what was interesting, we had a section on fertility, and it actually was a miracle that people fall pregnant. There are so many things that can go wrong that it is a miracle that people actually fall pregnant, as I said. And people don't realize how allergies play a role in the different phases. Did you know you could be allergic to a person? Have you ever heard?
I don't think other people knew that.
Yeah. And how do you know you're allergic to something? So in my allergy training, when we talk about allergy, it's when you have an overreaction of any shape or form, then we call it an allergy. I know in the medical world, then it is if you have a certain way the cell responds, or if the body responds in a different way, then you have an allergy or a sensitivity or what. If you have an overreaction, to keep things simple, we call it an allergy. Now, have you noticed with some people, no matter what you say, you just can't stand them. You're just like, then you know you're allergic to them. And the sad part is, it's often somebody we share a home with. He can be a spouse. You know how many people are allergic to their spouse. But how it works is, you need to understand how an allergy is formed. An allergy is formed when you've had a bad experience with something.
Mm-hmm.
And then anybody who was in that, or anything that was in that space while you had that trauma, your body will associate it with that trauma. It becomes a track to that trauma and reminds you of that trauma. So either it can be the spouse that did something really horrible, like I've done to my husband, poor guy. I have really put him through hell sometimes and probably caused him some allergies towards me. But somebody can say something really horrible and it deeply hurts you, then your body goes like, okay, well, this is hurtful. I must stay away from this person. And that's how then the allergy is formed. And then we have to retrain the body and the mind that this person is actually safe. So the first thing is you can be allergic to the husband. In this case, if you're the woman who wants to fall pregnant, as the husband, you can also be allergic to your wife. So it's a two-way thing. Then you can be allergic to the sperm. That maybe you have ideas about sexuality and sperm, and it's dirty and it's horrible and dangerous. You know how we could have been brought up. I know how I was brought up, sex is bad and sperm can be dangerous because you're going to fall pregnant. And so you have all this subconscious programming that you've got in there that you'll reject the sperm. And then you can reject the baby. It's actually an invader. And so you have different phases where the body can see or perceive this pregnancy, or the person is supposed to make you pregnant, as a threat, and then doesn't want to know anything about it or with it. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And I think there's probably people listening going, wow, I had never thought about it quite like that. And I want to take it a step further and talk about egg wisdom and the fact that the egg, so there's this misconception, and it's perpetuated by a lot of men, unfortunately, that it's the strongest swimmer that gets to the egg, right? Like there's ejaculate, and then there's this visual, right? That's created through movies and all kinds of other things, that the sperms swim as fast as they possibly can to the egg, and the strongest one that gets there first wins. Wow, is that a masculine explanation? That's actually not how it happens. Yes, the sperms swim in the direction of the egg. You do need progressive motility, okay, with them going in the correct direction. You need them to be moving, okay? But the egg actually selects the sperm that is the most genetically compatible or viable. And she is also so brilliant that she will repair as much as she can for any DNA fragmentations, anything in the sperm that might not be completely ideal. So the biochemistry that happens around that egg, she actually senses which is the best fit for a viable pregnancy. Isn't that wild? Like our bodies are so brilliant. And she will only allow in the one that she feels is going to create the most successful pregnancy. And sometimes, and this is what happens in the event of miscarriage, is she can't repair the DNA enough. Or just think about how we're wired as women. There's a lot of women who think that they can fix things that are broken. Like if their partner isn't ideal, but they see the potential, they're like, oh, well, he could be a good guy. No, don't do that. Just putting that out there. Don't do that. Like they're either ready to rise and be your partner or not. And if they're not, then move on, because there's somebody that will be a better fit for you. But our egg literally does this in a biochemical process where it will take in the strongest candidate. If there is anything to repair, it will try to repair it as much as possible, because the whole idea is a successful conception for the continuation of the species, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the repair process cannot happen effectively for whatever reason, either there's too much damage or it is deemed at some point that this isn't going to chemically work properly, the body will end the pregnancy and the process will begin again. So a lot of times women think that there's something quote unquote wrong with them. And that's not it at all.
Mm-mm.
Often, miscarriage, depending on the stats that you look at, sometimes I've seen stats that say 50%, sometimes I see stats that say 70%, but somewhere between 50 and 70% of miscarriages, depending on whose numbers you're looking at, come from the male sperm. So, getting back to what you were saying about being allergic to your partner, your body has this knowing on a chemical level whether somebody is a good fit for you for the propagation of the species, right? Because we are evolutionarily wired to mate with whoever is going to give the most viable offspring. Now, when we throw birth control and things in on top of all of that, we have obliterated our body's ability to smell, literally smell, partners that are the most genetically viable. So you end up, when you've been years on birth control and you meet a partner when you're on birth control, you are looking for brother and not other. Then you come
Mhm.
off the birth control and then you try to get pregnant. And your body goes, oh, no, 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 this is not a good fit for me. And there are women that they come off of birth control and they go, who am I married to? Because this person is not a good fit for me. And that was totally what was going through my brain when you were talking about being
Wow.
allergic to your partner. Because, like, if they're not a good fit, your body biochemically has this incredible radar system in it to say, no, this isn't going to work.
But there is hope.
Yes, there is.
But to throw another picture in, is that remember in our previous episode, we spoke about this mirror thing. Our external world is a reflection of the internal world. So if we have attracted somebody, if our reflection is showing somebody that we don't like, well, if I look in the mirror and I don't like what I see, what do I do? Do I go and paint on the mirror? No, I've got to change me. Now, when I change me, so the trick is you look at what is it that I don't like about this person?
Mm-hmm.
Are they rude? Are they sloppy? Are they what? And then you go and say, okay, well, where do I do that towards me, especially? And then I change the way I treat myself and other people. Then one of four things is going to happen, guaranteed. That partner disappears gracefully from your life. You don't have to kick him out of the nest. He'll disappear because he doesn't want to be there. But that's maybe not the option that you want, but there are three other options. The second option is that he changes because you changed, or it doesn't irritate you anymore, or you become really good at dealing with the situation. You have a good discussion because now you talk as equals, not as one talking down at the other, oh, you're so bad and you must change. And then you can create win-win solutions, etc. And I'm talking a lot about that in my latest book called Bitter or Better, I Decide, and explain how you can look at other people and realize how you can change to create a new dynamic in the relationship. And that can be towards your partner. So if you're allergic to somebody, but also if you keep on having miscarriages, or let's go a step back, if you keep on attracting partners that are not good for you, definitely I've seen that with clients. They need to heal their own rejection and change and learn to love themselves, and then they can attract a partner that will love them. And then when it comes to having miscarriages, for example, you got to look at, well, what is going on in my life that I'm not holding on to this baby? Do I actually have space for this baby in my life? Or is my life so full that my body says, I can't handle more. There is no space for this baby in this life of yours. And so you could lose the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of things that are at play when you're not managing to fall pregnant.
And I think that's important to mention because a lot of times people think that it's just a physical thing. Like, oh, I need all these diagnostics because my hormones aren't functioning right, or, there has to be something quote unquote wrong with me. But that goes back to what you were saying is we're looking for the problem in ourself, like there is something wrong with us, rather than thinking about it in a little bit different light. Because that inner critic and the things that we tell ourselves have a huge impact. And we talked about this in more detail in our previous episode, but that energy that we hold within ourselves, the attention that we turn towards ourselves, if it's negative, it just compounds.
Absolutely. Now, I am always very hesitant to use the word wrong. There's something wrong with me, because that it gives my inner critic then a stick to beat me harder with.
Correct.
But I'm doing something that's not effective. You either do something that works or you do something that doesn't work. I compare it with a fly in the room. If I have, in South Africa, we have burglar bars. I realize you probably don't have that where you are. But if the window's open and there's burglar bars, I cannot go through the window, but the fly can. And so it's not wrong trying to get out the window. It's just what works. For me as a person, it doesn't work, but for the fly, it does. The same is with our life. Are we doing things that work for us, or are we doing things that are not working for us? Yep. And you just look at that and change it. But there's no judgment. If we can look at ourselves without judgment, we'll do ourselves a huge favor.
I completely agree with you. And I use the word wrong because that's the one that I hear out of my clients' mouths the most. Yes. Like, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? And it's this vocabulary around being quote unquote broken, which I really feel like goes back to your point, which is that's not the case. We're looking at bringing things into alignment and helping bring clarity and ease to our system through acceptance and forgiveness and being able to open our heart in a completely different way.
Absolutely. It's about making peace where we are. We also have this thing, sometimes we over-focused on something. How often, people fall pregnant after they've adopted a baby because the pressure is off. So if we over-focused and so it's never working, when we talk or when we think nobody's hearing us, but we have anything between 26 and 35 trillion listeners. And those are our cells. Our cells hear everything we think, and they see it as a command. So if our life becomes the answer to the questions we ask. So if I constantly say, well, why can't I fall pregnant? Then the body will say, okay, well, we have to give her reasons why she cannot fall pregnant and make sure she doesn't fall pregnant. But if we start saying, well, why do I fall pregnant? Or why am I happy anyway? Or why? You want to ask why questions that give you the results that you want. Because our life becomes living answer of the questions we ask. We often focus on what not working instead of focusing what we want to see.
Yes, I love that. I have a colleague who will start appointments by saying, so what's going well for you this week? Because a lot of times people go into her office and go, oh, my shoulder hurts, or I'm not sleeping well, or this isn't happening, or that isn't happening, right? And she opens the appointment with, so what's going well for you? And I love that she does that. And it always stuck with me because it was such a change of frame going into an office where a chiropractor is going to make an adjustment or several adjustments to your body so that it can function optimally. I said this on another podcast with a colleague of mine that your symptoms in your body is your body's way of lovingly trying to communicate with you.
Yes.
And often the symptom starts in a gentle way because your body is not your enemy. Your body is just trying to use the only language that it has to communicate with you. And it isn't until it starts screaming at you that most people decide that they're going to make a change. And that's the hard part, I think, from my perspective as a fertility specialist, is that by the time the body is screaming, meaning mentally they've made the decision they want to have a baby, they haven't been successful, or maybe there's some fear around, can I even do this because of family history, fill in the blank, right? And they are like desperate to get pregnant. And the fact that it's going to be a process is then an instant turnoff. And it's like, I understand that you think IVF is going to solve your problem, but it doesn't, because IVF doesn't guarantee babies. And I'm specifically calling out IVF only because I am seeing an increasing number of people who have been told by their doctor that this will get them pregnant. And they make a huge financial investment thinking that this is going to be their solution, but it actually ends up taking months anyway. And it's not a guarantee, right? So what Hanna and I are talking about is shifting the fundamental fabric of your biochemical makeup, which if you decide or need to go IVF because of a genetic thing, great. It means that your first, maybe second transfer will probably take, because energetically you're in an aligned place and your body's ready to receive this baby.
Wow.
You know, it totally changes the trajectory of your fertility journey when your body is being told that it's successful rather than a failure. Because, like Hanna said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like if you say, oh, I'm afraid that this transfer is going to fail, most of the time it does, at least in my clinical experience.
Absolutely. And the whole thing is, we not only have the allergies towards our partner and all of that, we have so many other allergies as well. Now, the allergy symptoms, and so infertility can be one of those symptoms, are just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. We've got a whole lot of stress under the surface. Now, when we dissolve those stressors, then the iceberg starts to sink, and then it becomes easier to get rid of your allergy symptoms and your infertility symptoms. You could get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Now, what causes all the stress? With my allergy training, what I learned was we struggle with absorbing most food groups. I mean, here we're taking all these minerals and, these supplements, but we're creating expensive pee because we're not absorbing it, because what happens is, as we said right earlier on, when you have a fight, your body, when you have a traumatic experience, and that can be a fight or something else, your body will take a snapshot. And anything that was present in that snapshot, the body will think, okay, I must avoid that. Mm-hmm. And I must prevent having it. And so it will not absorb it. Now, how often do people have arguments at the dinner table? They fight at table, and now you're eating all stressed, and your body thinks it's the food that is making you feel so bad. And then it's scientifically proven that whatever allergy you now have developed, you pass it on to future generations. So genetically, over all these thousands of years that we've been around, we struggle to absorb the food groups. Now, we also spoke already in the last time about my iThrive programs, and one of them is for your allergies. And those ones will bring down the general stress levels by retraining the body to be in harmony with protein, with calcium, with certain vitamins and minerals, and your people and your emotions. And so it brings harmony into the body. Then you're calmer, you don't feel threatened by everything and anything. Then it's safe to have a baby. But if you are a fearful person, your body's going to bring a baby into this world. It's too dangerous. Mm-hmm. So that whole fearful, anxious mindset, we've got to get rid of it if you want to fall pregnant. I mean, how many times do the people that come into your office that cannot fall pregnant are anxious compared to, or are they laid back? They're totally anxious.
They're always anxious.
Always anxious, exactly.
Well, and they're always trying to mentally solve the problem. Like, I went into this Facebook group in order to try to solve this problem. And then they end up bringing so much more into the conversation because, well, I looked at this and I looked at this and this other doctor promised this other thing and da-da. And it's like, hold on. Your frequency is a mismatch right now for conception to happen because you're up here and we need to like settle your system before we can really do anything else and before your body's going to think that it's safe to have a baby because your primal brain can only handle two things, survive or procreate, and survive will always win. When you're overthinking it and you're stressing yourself out and you're trying to research the crap out of something, even though you've paid a professional to help you with it, and you're still trying to research the crap out of something, you're creating a stress response. Your body thinks you are being chased by a saber-toothed tiger.
And it will cooperate.
Nope. And you will always prioritize the tiger because you can't get pregnant if you die.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The body goes, I'm going to keep you safe, girlfriend. Like, let's go, you know? And so it keeps you in this running away from the tiger state. And there's this joke, and I had a client get really sassy with me a couple of years ago. They were like, please don't tell me to just go on vacation and I'll get pregnant. I've already tried that. And I was like, but there's a reason why people go on vacation and they get pregnant. It's because the tempo of their life is different. The stressors are different. You don't have all of the demands of the day-to-day life staring at you in the face, and you and your partner are present with each other. It's different. There's joy, and little baby souls are attracted to joy, guys.
Did you know that the highest birth rate is in September? They are Christmas babies.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are jolly, they are more relaxed, they take time off, they might not go away, but there is, on average, that time of festive energy. And amazing, if you look at the world stats, most of people, the kids are born September.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Both of my babies were conceived during that same time frame. I have a September baby and I have an early October baby. My early October baby was due September 21st. So, like, it's true because that's one of the most solid vacations I give myself the entire year. And it just happened to coincide with when I was ovulating. So, your ability to unplug. So this is why the monkey mind person that comes in and goes, I'm in this group and I'm in this group and I've asked this professional this other question and, well, I consulted with this doctor and this is what they said. What do you think? I'm like, I'm thinking you're doing too much. That's what I'm thinking. Because like your ability to unplug and connect with your partner takes you out of that stress response and affects this allergy equation. Right? Because a lot of disharmonies that we have with these episodes that keep our body in that reactive state.
Yes, absolutely.
Come out of not being able to connect with one another.
And not connect with themselves and with the divine, because that is also another thing. You see, it is. I love what you said about the body does one of two things, either safety or procreation. And if we don't feel safe, and taking time to have some sort of a relationship with something bigger than who we are, brings so much calmness into life. Then you can calm down and then there's time for procreation. But you first have to be safe. Yeah, I love that, what you said there.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is what you're talking about, though. It's the security that comes with being able to pause and create that space for spirituality. And I use that word because, you know, religion and spirituality can be very different. It's your relationship with something greater and how that shows up in your rhythm and your daily life. And really what it does in the nervous system is it gives you that ability to have a trust fall. You believe that there's something bigger than you that has your back. and will keep you safe at some level, right? It comes back to this feeling of safety and being held in our nervous
Yes,
system.
absolutely. Because I always say to people when they come and see me, they're now frustrated in their relationship because people around them, are not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm saying just make this your primary relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, other people will come into your life to assist in your safety and support. But this is the primary relationship. And then
Yes.
the body can relax. And yeah, definitely. Because we're way too much in our head, as you said. How many times people just think the body is there to carry around the head?
Yes, exactly.
But they don't forget, about the subconscious and the conscious mind, right? That we have this conscious mind and the subconscious, and the conscious is so much more powerful. Well, where does the subconscious live? The head, the brain, the conscious is probably in the brain. The subconscious lives in the rest of the body. At least if we connect with our body and become aware of how we feel, our energy levels, then we can get an idea of what's going on a subconscious level. But as you were saying, with some of your clients, they're so busy researching everything and in their head, they're not connecting with the body. And if you take time to calm down, slow down, and listen to what your body wants, you realize, oh, okay, maybe I should get a massage to relax instead of gymming myself into smithereens.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to take this a step further too for people who are like 35 and older who are listening to this, because I find that the majority of the people that I work with for fertility are 35 and older, because that's where people start to panic. And they're like, oh, I'm getting too old for this. Yes, my biological clock is gonging at me because I'm running out of time. And that's a misnomer. I just want to put that out there. It's a misnomer. It really is the health of your body, the alignment of your body. I got pregnant with my son at 39. Natural conception, no IVF, no drugs, no nothing. 39. I had him at 40. So you're not running out of time. Please do not panic. But that's part of it. That panic creates the saber-toothed tiger. Then you don't feel safe. The baby doesn't come in. So as the Western medical model likes to call it, advanced maternal age, which is horrible. I won't even use geriatric because I had that on a chart somewhere. Man, that made me so mad. I'm like, I am not geriatric, thank you. I am a wise woman who is choosing to have a baby right now. Okay? Put wise woman on my chart. I like that better. Because there is wisdom. And honestly, in some ways, when we're not in our head, conception actually can get easier as we get older because we're more secure in who we are.
Yeah.
We're clearer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a friend and she fell pregnant when she was 44.
Mm-hmm.
And how did she do it? Also, no external help, but she was teaching a course on the chakras. And then when she was working on the root and sacral chakra, because when we're in the head, we're not in the body. And so it taught her to slow down and earth. And that's when she fell pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
That is that whole thing of, are you walking around bare feet? Are you connected to the earth? Are you actually a human being living on earth? Or are you just a head being carried around somewhere by your body and totally disconnected from your environment?
This reminds me of a book I'm reading where she was talking about a soul having a human experience. Are we having an actual human experience, or are we treating our bodies like an organic robot where we're expected to live in spring and summer energy? We're never allowed to have our energy change. We're never allowed to fall out of being productive. And that kind of energy makes you feel like you're being chased. And there are natural rhythms. We do need periods of respite. Being able to sync your work with the phases of your cycle take you out of that stress response, because it creates little mini traumas, right? Because then it goes back to what we're saying in our head. Oh, I wasn't able to get that thing done. Oh, I failed over here. I didn't do this thing over there. And then what that creates for an internal monologue or dialogue in terms of your self-worth. So this goes back to everything that Hanna does. And I really couldn't wait to record this episode because there's so much synergy there that I think people who grew up in a Western medical model seriously miss. And I also grew up in the Western medical model, right? I'm an Eastern trained practitioner, but I can only say that I have immense reverence for the wisdom of Eastern medicine. I did not grow up in that tradition. Gosh, there are days I wish I did. But I have learned and I have integrated it into my own life. And this is something that can be done. But I still have that Western voice that speaks. And, the more we're able to understand and to create a relationship with our emotions being part of the conversation, what we tell ourselves being part of the conversation, with our spiritual life being part of the conversation, we're now starting to look at ourselves as whole instead of pieces of the whole. And I really feel like that speaks really beautifully to the work that you do because you're recognizing those pieces.
Absolutely. And now to add to that also is that we've got to ask ourselves, why do we want that baby? Is it because I don't feel good enough on my own? And now I need a baby or a purpose or something like that. And that's why self-esteem is so important, to have that foundation. What I focus on now with my clients is like, I am enough just because. I don't have to have a reason for being enough. I'm enough because I'm deciding I am enough. And I'm enough if I've done a lot of work, and I'm enough if I've done nothing. Some days I do nothing, and some days I do a lot, and other days something in between. But if we can start realizing I'm enough just because, I'm valuable just because, now I don't need a child to give me purpose or meaning. So that takes pressure off you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have to prove myself with this baby. And that's why I have this gift, and we spoke about it before as well, of you can go to my name, hannakok.com, and you can download or you can sign up for these iThrives, the ones for self-esteem, so that you can let go of a lot of the stress that we stored in our body. It's called mental hygiene. We want to get rid of all that emotional junk. You talk about free radicals and you take all these supplements to get radicals, but the biggest problem is the free radical thoughts that we have. The anger that is just twirling around our head, and the resentment and the grudges. And then we love talking about how this person cut us off in traffic, or who talked badly, did this so bad. And this way we are creating so much emotional free radical junk.
Mm-hmm.
Then we wonder why our body doesn't function. So the app can help with that. And then when you sign up for that, you can also get the first few chapters of my book, Bitter or Better. I decide, because it is our decision how we look at life. Is it a big grumpy experience, or is it a welcoming, embracing experience? You decide. I decide. Not an external thing. We decide for ourselves.
I love that. That is such a beautiful parting thought. I was going to ask you for a final thought, but I think that was it. That's beautiful. So if people want to get a hold of you, Hanna, how can they reach you?
Well, the best way is you can sign up for the iThrives by going to hannakok.com, or you can get me on LinkedIn. I'll be honest with you, I'm not always the best on social media, but when you sign up to iThrives, you can sign up for the WhatsApp, and then you have me. That's the best way of getting hold of me, actually. So that's a good way of doing it.
Beautiful. So her website is HANNAKOK. Okay, that's how you spell her name. And we'll have everything in the show notes as well, but I'm just putting that out there for people who might be listening to this and are not actually like engaged in the platform. Please check this out. This connection is so critically important, whether your goal is for fertility or improving your cycle health or just feeling better in your own body and changing the narrative and the way that you move through the world. Like, this is such an incredible gift. And I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out and for joining me for 2 episodes. And I will make all of this information available in the show notes. And until next time, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Reproductive Rebel. Reproductive Rebel is recorded by certified peri-steam hydrotherapist and acutonics practitioner, herbalist, and Chinese nutritional therapist Adrienne Irizarry of Moon Essence LLC. If you are interested in setting up an appointment for one-on-one support, ordering from our store, or checking out our course offerings, visit our website at moonessence.life. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and get insider information on upcoming events and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us at MoonEssenceMe on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your voices make this program possible. Thank you all for your continued support.